Very good evening. You're watching the India Development Debate. I'm Tamanna Inamdar. Horrific scenes greeted all of us last evening, coming in from Jawaharlal Nehru University, one of India's most premier educational institutions. At about 7 last evening, 50 or so masked goons entered the campus and went on a rampage, beating up students and teachers, thrashing people, causing mayhem all over. A few hours later, they coolly walked out. In some visuals, you can even see police standing by. The attack on JNU has led to all-round widespread condemnation from India Inc., from film personalities, and of course, from common citizens. It has also led to the big question of who. Who were these goons? How did they so casually enter the university? What has the police been doing since then? Among those attacked, and brutally, was JNU President Aishe Ghosh, whose head was split open. A number of students claim the attack has been orchestrated by the ABVP, the student wing of the ruling BJP. It is a charge that is being denied. But the real question is that even after so much footage and several hours gone by, why don't we know who did this? To get a sense of the scale of this attack, I'm joined now by Yogendra Yadav, founder of Swaraj India and former alumnus of Jawaharlal Nehru University. Mr. Yadav, thank you so much for speaking with us. Now, we're seeing several versions of what happened last night. I know you were there outside the campus gates. What happened, according to you?
I can give you only a limited version because I wasn't there through the day when some altercation took place, some fisticuffs, etc. took place, and I believe that were from both sides. I started getting news after 7 o'clock and rushed to the campus, reached there around 8:30, 8:45 or so. And what is clear from everyone's account post 7 o'clock is that a group of about 50, 60, 70 goons came into the campus. In a campus where you cannot enter without showing an I card, about 50 to 70 people entered there with rods, with dandas, used stones. This when the police had perfect information that some trouble was brewing. This when the University Student Union had given in writing to the police to say they apprehend an attack and they want security. And all that the police did was to stand at the gate, prevent anyone else from coming while these goons were doing what they wanted to do throughout the campus. So they went from hostel to hostel. The Student Union president was hit on the head. Teacher was hit on the head. They entered girls' hostel, generally vandalizing and rampaging wherever they went. And there's not a single report of police trying to check them, police trying to apprehend them, police doing anything against them. That much is quite clear. We do not know how it started, but we do know that between 7 to 10, roughly speaking, the police was providing a cover to private goons who, it seems, were brought in by ABVP. And the police was ensuring that no one would disturb them in their job. Once they finished the job around 10:30 or so, they were respectfully brought out, some of them wearing even police jackets, and then everything was normal.
You know, Mr. Yadav, since then, and we've all seen the visuals, so we know for sure that there were goons and they have wreaked havoc. But there are so many different narratives. One, of course, says that, it is the ABVP who has orchestrated it. They denied, they say that the left student union has done the attack. Sitting over here, and for those who are watching, how do you know what's the truth?
Two versions of what happened during the day which led to the violence. And I think it's not for me to sort out those two versions and say which one is more true, less true. I believe both of them to be true. But what happened after 6:37, there are no two versions. Ask the teachers of the university, they were there inside the campus, people who lived in the campus, and everyone would tell you that one group of people were assaulting. Look at who they were assaulting. If they pick up the JNU president first, and hit her with the rod, clearly they could not have been friends of JNUSU. They could not have been friends of the leftists who come and attack the JNUSU president with a rod. So you can surmise. You can surmise by what they were saying on the campus. And if you wanted more proof, Tamanna, you could see what was happening outside the gate where I was standing, where a group of people brought in clearly by RSS ABVP, because they were shouting their slogans. They were making sure that media was muzzled. They were attacking me in the presence of media, in the presence of police. They attacked me twice. On that, at least your correspondents and everyone else can say who they were, because that's in public view. There cannot be two opinions about that.
Yeah. Mr. Yadav, what about the Vice Chancellor's role in all of this? Now, you have condemned what the Vice Chancellor has said, but his office wrote a letter where they talk about the genesis of this from much before and not just that afternoon.
There is an internal dispute going on in JNU between two set of students, because between students union on the one hand and some people from ABVP on the other, the administration is openly siding with one of them. I saw the university statement. The funny thing about this statement, one-page statement, is that it has just one line about what happened after 7 o'clock. That is the real thing that happened on the campus. It says, very sad that it happened. What was the Vice Chancellor doing? Why did the Vice Chancellor not invite security? Why did the Vice Chancellor not invite police to apprehend people who were going in his university from hostel to hostel? Why did the Vice Chancellor not listen to the wardens? Why did the Vice Chancellor not respond to the students' cry for help? Why did the Vice Chancellor not respond to faculty members who were being attacked? Any head of the institution would step in and say, this is my institution. These are my children. I may have a quarrel with them, but I will not allow you to beat them up like this. This is the minimum duty of a head of an institution. Did the Vice Chancellor do that? Sadly, I usually don't do that, because head of the institutions should be respected. But this Vice Chancellor is the biggest joke in the history of JNU. Joke intellectually, but speaking of his conduct yesterday and prior to that, he is a blot in the name of this institution, which has brought so much of laurels to the country. This man should have resigned, I suspect. He has been brought in mainly to dismantle JNU as an institution.
What do you hope to happen next now? There are some suggestions that there should be judicial intervention. There seems to be little faith in what Delhi police will do. They've just about registered an FIR earlier this evening. What would you think is the best way ahead so that we have a credible investigation into what has happened?
To my mind, there's so much of evidence available in the public domain that the minimum task would be to put it together and bring the entire truth to the public. Why is it that even after everyone knew that something is happening around 7:30, by 8 o'clock channels were airing it? Why is it that violence continued 2 hours after that? Why is it that electricity for the streets leading up to JNU was switched off around 8 o'clock and then switched on only after the goons went out of the campus after 11 o'clock? So yes, an independent probe is required. But to my mind, this is not just that. What happened last night was culmination of a series of attacks on JNU, beginning with intellectual criticism first. There was intellectual attack, followed by political attacks, then institutional dismantling, and finally, we have the physical attack on JNU. So what is required to my mind is, first of all, this Vice Chancellor must go. He has no moral and intellectual authority. Intellectually, he's a bit of a joke anyway, but he has no moral authority to continue as Vice Chancellor of this university. Number two, the students' basic demand of fee rollback that must be conceded forthwith so as to make a space for dialogue and discussion. And number three, independent probe, which should, and then strict action against those who are found guilty. I doubt if any of these three will take place. But if at all the government is sincere, then these three things should happen within 24 hours.
Bigger picture, Mr. Yadav, we are seeing protests around the country today. And some of them are centering on what happened in JNU yesterday. We've seen attacks and clashes in other educational institutes, Jamia, etc. What is the larger context of what's happening in your view?
You know, when we read the history of what happened in Italy and Germany in the 1930s, we come across a term called stormtroopers. Who are these stormtroopers? This is private militia mobilized by the ruling party, which was used in coordination with as an extension of the police force. So police and security forces will do one job. There are certain things they could not do or were not expected to do. Then private gundas will come and do that job. Police will help them. We are witnessing that. This is what is happening across the campuses. To my mind, what we witnessed in JNU was one of the lowest moments in our higher education. It is linked to much larger issue of state repression supplemented by private stormtroopers, which is what we have witnessed yesterday. And therefore, to my mind, the democratic processes, the minimum democratic processes that we should see are being questioned, and the only response to that would be for university communities to come out, to spring back and say, you can't do it to JNU, because if it's JNU today, it will be someone else tomorrow. The university communities throughout the country need to respond to this as if their campus has been attacked.
All of us, actually, not just university communities, it's a big story. It's a shocking one, and which is why it's right on top of the India development debate today. Thank you so much, Yogendra Yadav, for speaking with us.